gentleman who's been joining us all throughout the postseason. We appreciate it. Brian Barrett, host of Off The Pike, podcast on the Ringer Podcast Network, all things Boston, at It's Brian Barrett. Brian, what changed last night, in your opinion, for the Celtics to get this victory and really what feels like breathe new life into this series?
Well, the two biggest things to me, first of all, is they played with some effort defensively, which is a crazy concept considering you're playing in the Eastern Conference Finals. You would have figured they would have brought the effort in games 1, 2, and 3. That clearly wasn't the case. So that was the big thing. They actually had a really good defensive game. And secondarily, they actually hit their threes. If you look entering the game 4, they had been outscored from the three-point line by 39 points. And if you look at the margin in the series at that point, they had been outscored by 39 points total. They flipped that in the game 4, and they outscored the Heat by 33 points, which is something, guys, I really felt coming into the series that the Celtics had the advantage there. And I know Miami shot the ball better in the postseason than they did during the regular season. But if you look at it during the regular season, the Celtics averaged the most three-point makes, or I should say the second most three-point makes per game. You figure they have a real advantage there. And they were getting some good looks that they were just missing. The one big thing last night is they got more corner three-point attempts than they had at any point this series. And some of the role guys. Derek White had shot the ball well all series long. He hit another 3 last night. But finally, Al Horford hit a couple of threes. He hit 3. And Grant Williams was tremendous.
Okay, they did it last night. And talent from top to bottom, I think it is fair to argue that Boston is better. But they have no margin of error. The Celtics have shown moments of this postseason just to disappear with some of their bigger guys. So where's the trust factor right now with this Celtics team? I know you're more of an analytical guy, which I totally respect, but can you trust this Boston team after showing up last night with their backs against the wall to do that 3 more consecutive games?
I'll say that I trust Jason Tatum because Tatum has proven in the past he's been really good in these elimination games. The thing that concerns me, maybe more so than anything else, is the sidekick Jaylen Brown, who is in line to get a Supermax contract, and he has been flat out atrocious in the series. They've been outscored by 40 points when he's on the court. Now, I don't know if it's something with the hand. I'm sure like we do every postseason, we find out that a player is dealing with some sort of injury, but I'm not making that as an excuse for Jaylen. That's my concern, is Jaylen in the past 3 games hasn't reached the 20-point threshold. Think about that. This is a second-team All-NBA performer, and if you go back to the regular season, he didn't have back-to-back games where he had missed 20 points in terms of back-to-back games all season long. So that's my number one concern. And the other thing is Brogdon. Brogdon looks tired right now. If you look at his three-point shooting, he's been really bad this series. He's short on everything. You wonder, too, like, he's somebody that played less than 30 minutes per game during the regular season, pretty much every game. They really kept him on ice to get him fresh for the postseason. And right now, he looks like he's a little tired when it comes to that as well. But I really do think they found something with Tatum where they got him away from Jimmy Butler more. This is the fewest field goal attempts he had is against Jimmy Butler as the primary defender in the entire series. So he went at Martin, he went at Strus, and he went at Gabe Vincent. And this is something the Celtics can take advantage of because if you look at the other side, in the first 3 games, Jimmy Butler was mismatch hunting the smaller and perceived weaker defenders on the Celtics, and the Celtics hadn't really dug into that with Tatum. Get Butler off Tatum. All these other guys he can score on easily. So just get that matchup more to your advantage, so to speak. And I hope they do that more coming up in this game on Thursday night.
I just don't think. Let me say this because I don't want to be Debbie Downer because I know you're a Celtics person. I don't want to like pour water on your fire. But they were down 6 at the half.
And they won.
Like in a game 4 where they're about to get swept, where you would think the best version of the Celtics we're going to get is going to be in the first half of this game. They were down 6 at the half. I think for the first time all series, Miami let up a little bit and came out and played a terrible third quarter. And then kind of the fourth quarter just went yin yang for a while. But you got 7 threes between Grant Williams and Marcus Smart. That's never happening again, not even in the shoot-around before the game starts. Jaylen Brown, you mentioned, to put an exclamation point on your opinion, he is 3 of 25 from 3 in the series. Like me and you could go out being, if they let us shoot 25 threes, we're probably going to make 5 or 6. 3 of 25 is awful. And I don't know that outside of Tatum, the Celtics are trustworthy.
Yeah, well, one of their bigger issues, and I'm with you on the Smart part. The one thing I will say with Smart in this game, like they were wide open. If he missed those, I would have lost my mind last night. Tatum's taking on double teams, and they're like, Marcus, we dare you to shoot. But with the Grant Williams part of the equation, this is a guy that's been a 40% 3-point shooter over the past 2 seasons. Like he can knock those shots down. So I have faith that Grant, and I really do feel like, and I don't know if you guys noticed this, he brings energy. Like they were upset. It felt like people were upset that in the fan base that Grant poke the bear in Jimmy Butler. My irritation was that where were the rest of the guys when Grant was going after Jimmy Butler in game 2? Like, you got to have your guys back. But if you can get Al Horford, Malcolm Brogdon, or Derek White's been hitting threes, and then the last part of the equation, as we mentioned earlier, with Jaylen Brown, if you can get 3 of those guys along with Tatum hitting their shots, you have an opportunity. And that's what made the Celtics a great team all season long, was their 3-point shooting. So I'm hoping they found something, just a couple of those guys. They don't need all of them to hit their threes. They just need a couple of them, and they should be in much better shape. And on the flip side of that, these guys on the Heat have not been great 3-point shooters all season long. Like Caleb Martin, he had a PER of 11 during the regular season, and all of a sudden he's turned into like Michael Jordan in the postseason. I don't know what's going on with that guy. So you think at some point those guys are going to come back to earth as well. It's just the shooting differential in the first 3 games of the series made no sense. Like if you look at the expected field goal percentage to the actual field goal percentage, the Celtics are actually generating better shots. And I don't expect that Miami's going to shoot the way they did in the first 3 games. Now, it's going to be awfully difficult to beat this team 3 consecutive times again, or I should say 4 consecutive times. And there's going to be a Jimmy Butler game in there. But if we were going to look at a team that would have the best chance to overcome this 3-0 deficit, wouldn't it be a 2 seed against an 8 seed that had a negative point differential during the regular season?
Yeah, I'm with you. One thing to monitor moving forward, Miami's one of the smaller teams in the National Basketball Association. Yet even in this game 4 where the Celtics won, they were out-rebounded by the smaller Heat team, which to me goes directly to effort, which lets me know Miami still out-efforted Boston. Can that change?
Yeah, I would hope so. You would hope, but it's a great point, Shaun, because this team, they're so unpredictable, and you would think that now, hey, they kept saying before that game, let us get one. Don't let us get one, like sort of mimicking what the Red Sox said all those years ago with Kevin Millar to Dan Shaughnessy of the Boston Globe. You would hope the effort is there, and I do feel like, and I know you referenced the rebounding thing, but the past 2 games, they have been able to crash the offensive glass and take advantage of that. So that's my one hope is, okay, let's create some extra possessions when it comes to the offensive rebounding situation. And I do feel like they found something going away from that double big lineup where they can play smaller and they can play quicker. And I would expect that to be the case going forward. I would not expect Al and Rob on the court at all together going forward. The way to beat this Miami team is to play quicker.
Brian, before we let you run, your feel on tomorrow night. Right now, Celtics laying 8.
I'm going to take the points. And the reason I tell you this, guys, they only win blowouts. If it's a close game, they'll lose. And I believe the Celtics are going to win tomorrow. So I can't say that it's going to be a close game in Miami. I'll take the points with Miami. I think the Celtics will cover the 8 because they only win by like 10 or 15 points. If it comes down to a close game, the Celtics will lose. They lose all their clutch games.
Money line Heat or lay it with the Celtics. That is the thoughts of Brian. Always appreciate it, Brian. Great stuff, man.
You got it, guys.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.